Welcome to Bunny's Designs. This is part 3 of Kerby Rosanes Imagimorphia, and I'm working on the pineapple page. The last week I did the Inktense pencils, drawing the colour in and activating it with water. This time I'm drawing with the Derwent Water Colour Pencils and then activating them with water. So you can get some little watercolour effects by doing that. So we should finish off the little creatures, what we have left. So I'll zoom in, and thank you for watching. This is a live stream. There's live peoples and live chat, and also recorded for YouTube for people to watch at their leisure. So I'm going to use the Primrose Yellow, and some of my pencils have been sharpened and some haven't. But I'm not overly concerned about that. That is probably a little bit too pale. Let's find the cadmium yellow. I think we'll use, lemon cadmium. I think we'll probably have a bit of pale colour here. I'm not sure what these are. But I didn't really want to do them particularly green. So we can give them a little bit of colour. I've scribbled some green in there, and that's what I'm doing, very carefully keeping inside the line, just scribbling colour. That's all I'm doing. And then as soon as you activate it with water with a damp brush, these colours can be manipulated and pushed around so that you can make sure every nook and cranny is activated with pure colour. And you can push the colour around where you want it. And I've been using on the actual fronds, I've used 7 colours. 7 colours scribbled together and then mixed. And you know, normally you get mud, but because you're using these watercolours you don't. So I want a nice green for the bluebell. Again, just a little scribble, because if you put the tiniest amount of colour on there, you can manipulate this colour to give you a natural highlight. And then you can work backwards. Whoopsie, the cat's just fallen off the what's-it. You can work backwards. Yes, I know. And the cat's just disturbed. Accidentally on purpose. So if you want some bigger colour with a bigger brush, you can use kind of a bigger brush, but I'm just going to activate this lemon cadmium and just tease a little bit of colour through there, because I'm not really sure what colour I want to do them, because I couldn't tell if it was a flower or a leaf. So I thought I would do this, and then I can manipulate a little bit of green in there. So that puppy has. So I've got a little bit of colour in there, and again I can just, if you had a point, you don't really need a point, just scratching the tiniest amount of colour, and by doing that it's just giving me one of those many shades, and you can manipulate that up into the flower if you want. Sorry about this, he's just rearranging his bed. We've had a lot of spot and bother with the dogs today. Normally they're as good as gold, but today they're being a little bit naughty. So I'm going to put that into there. And that's just given me a little bit of colour. I think I wanted quite a deep green for here, so probably a cedar green, and I think I'm gonna not really bother much about highlights. I think I want quite a nice kind of strong colour, I think. Again, as long as you stay within the lines, you can manipulate that colour however you want. And I can put some other green in there if I want. I can mix these greens if I really want to. Put something else in there. You can mix as many colours together as you want, and you don't get mud. So that's kind of got to be a bit amazing. So that was 43. So I'm going to have, actually going to go for a bigger brush, because I want a bigger brush, but I want it damp, because I want to manipulate, it's a little bit wet, but I want to manipulate this colour, push it around, give highlights, mix it with other things. Really get some unusual colours in here. And again, you know, you've got all this, colour to kind of manoeuvre around. So you can take these wonderful colours. They do mix like butter, they just absolutely melt together. It's the only way I can describe it. They're just so wonderful, and you don't get any hard lines because you can go back and reactivate them. They're not like the ink tents, they're not set once they dry. You can go back in and reactivate them, and you can add more colour to them, you can go over them. But you get some really gorgeous effects. Now I need the butterfly, so I kind of like the purpley butterflies, but French ultramarines normally quite good. The dark blue's nice. So what I'm going to do with this one is I actually want definition of colour. So because these are really small spaces, and I would suggest you do this kind of off camera, not over your work, but so you can see, and you do it not over your work, because the chances are you can splatter your work. And then we can stroke in some really, really strong colour, which we can then manipulate. And again, I can just, if I want that dark, I just touch that back into there, and then then kind of just drag some here. And they are the most gorgeous colours. Just kind of want to manipulate that. I mean, this is French ultramarine, but by the time you've watered it down to a pale, very pale purple, it's a lovely colour. And then we can possibly... Oh, sorry, I do apologise. That was blue Delft blue. And then I think we can put a little bit of smalt blue number 30. And again, the more water you use, so gather a little bit there and then kind of use the strength and then draw it out to a paler colour. And again, that might be a bit strong for that one, but let's have a look. Just take it out there. And take that out there. I apologise about the angle. It's just a bit difficult to get to. Again, yeah, the strongest colours at the bottom. Tease that colour out there, so you've got a lovely colour butterfly. I think I wanted the teal colour for the... We need a reddy colour. I've got Venetian red for our little fox. I think Venetian red would be quite good. Bit of a foxy colour, so Venetian red for our fox. So again, all I'm going to do is just scratch in a little bit of colour where there should be a little bit of colour. Sorry, it could be a bark alert. My husband's home. So I do apologise. I do apologise. Right, so if I kind of activate this now here, you can see, oh, I do apologise, you can just push that all around and push this down, and then that kind of has very carefully got you into here. And then this is paler, and then we kind of push that down there. That would go down here, and then that slowly comes back down to here, so we can then kind of work that one into there. And then if we take this tail down, almost done that with one damp brush, and very pale. You can make him a lot darker if you want, but I quite like him pale. If you want to take a little bit more, then you can just touch down here. Yes, please, Sonny, will you just let them out? Because he doesn't need to go yet, but they do. Thanks. They need to go out. Oh, sorry. Just mad. You can touch. This is probably a little bit too wet, this brush, to manipulate so much colour, but if you wanted to kind of do a little bit darker, and then kind ears. So you can do all sorts with him, build him up. Again, you know, here would, it's obviously sitting in here. So you can do all sorts of things with the pencil, with the brush. And use the end of the pencil for some nice close work. And if we put some bark, I've got some raw sienna and a raw umber. And can we put some bark on the tree? We could possibly get and on this tree as well. And again, just a bit of scribble. This one is a little bit big, so I'm going for the smallish brush for this one, which is a long rigger, but it's a number 3. And again, just teasing that colour out. Teasing that colour. And there's a pale brown, we can just tease that in there, so we've got rid of that one as well. Just a little bit under there. Is Piggle still out, Nigel?
No.
Oh, that's okay, thank you, darling. Oh, that's okay. Right, and then we can activate this one here. So if we start at the top, stroke down. Stroke down. It looks almost like 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, but it isn't. It's oh, it is 2 minutes to 4. Oh, no wonder the dogs are hungry. Yeah, they know when it's feeding time. I've just lost an hour. Never mind. Right. So the coconuts, again, you can. We have an owl up there. I think there's 3 coconuts. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the snake. I'm not sure what colour to do with the snake. But I've just found another it wasn't chrome orange, it was was it Crimson Lake that I did? Was it Crimson Lake that I did that one? Have a look. No. Have a think. What colour did I do those? I think I did them deep. Look. I don't think it matters too much if I'm a little bit out. Just a tad orangier, so it's probably orange chrome. But I can't go in there if it's wet because it would be so strong. But I can actually take some colour and put it in there while it's wet. But if I drew that onto there, it would be so vibrant. In fact, I need to do that for this particular one. In fact, I'm going to use this one, I think. I'm going to use Cadmium Lake number 15. And I'm just going to stroke this colour into here. I think it's the only one that has the fronds showing. Probably only this one. Just going to put this into here. Just to make that stand out a little bit. Oh, I love the bushy-tailed foxes. I think they're wonderful. So we've got the dragonfly, so I think we need to crack on now. 656. I think we'll do the dragonfly Kingfisher blue. That's what I said, wasn't it? Thank you, darling. Kingfisher blue. So I'm just going to stroke a little bit in here, in the centre, and then if I activate this, I can manipulate a very pale wing. Again, push this into here, and a very pale wing, and again into here, and then just manipulate a little bit of that colour, because a little bit of this colour goes a long way. And again, this one, that was a little bit wet, but it's fine. And then we could do with 38, we could do with and I do actually need to sharpen this, I think. He could do with a bit of a body, so I'll just kind of, oops. See if we can manipulate a little bit of brown on here to give him a brown body. And we seem to have a pipe here, which is going to be a kind of a fawn coloured, I think. I think it's some kind of a woodwind instrument. I don't think it's a vase. It could be a vase. There's a note there, so I think I'll have that chocolate. That one's called Chocolate, number 66, which is always nice. I hope I'm in frame. I think I am. And again, you're just touching a little bit of that, and it just melts like butter. So blending, you don't even need to blend, you just push that colour exactly where you want it. I could do with a little bit of green and use bottle green for, actually I've got these to do. I'm going to do these bottle green. I think these could be dark. And just a little bit of a leaf. And there was another one of those leaves. I think we're just going to give a bit of that into there. And we'll do these as colours as well. I think they could be petals, but again, I'm just going to just scribbling really carefully. Just scribbling a little bit of colour. There's a caterpillar, and then the apple green, grass green rather. Nope, it wasn't emerald green, it was the very pale green. It was May green and I've put it somewhere. It was May green, so if we put May green over the top we might just get away with it. Need to swap brushes. So I've got a little bit more dampness and I can just maybe get rid of that particular green that I did by mistake, because it blends very well and disappears, which is exactly what I wanted it to do. So it's disappeared. There's this one behind here that needs to be activated, and as I said, they just blend into nothing, so they're really nice to use. So they're very well behaved, which is quite nice. So we put the May green back. There's a little bit more green here, but we've got the snake now, so we could do the snake. I think I'm going to do the umbrella first. So I quite like the brolly. And just need not a particularly large brush, but a nice rigger, because you want to kind of really tease that colour out. And then you can kind of bring that one down to here now then. And then kind of so we've done our little brolly. There's two caterpillars, so we can have some bright coloured caterpillars if we wanted. There's a little bit of greenery here, so what green we'd like. Possibly I'll do grass green, and we'll give all these things here a bit of pale grass colours, and then so you can either do them all together or bring the colours forward. So this is a cloud, and that's a leaf, and some grass kind of behind here, so they can be, and I don't know what I've got under here. Oh, it's a piece of wood shaving. I wondered what it was earlier. Again, I've got some kind of green going on behind here, and I think we've almost done all the green things. It's just the caterpillar and the kite, and 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 I like about the fact that you don't have to kind of, oh, Suzanne says it reminds her of the fox, the coyote fox that you have. Oh wow, ours aren't quite as bushy tailed, but they get around a bit. They get around a bit. Our little red foxes. And again, if you've kind of manipulated this colour, you can actually put, you can actually put another green in there. Oh, for goodness sake. You could put another green in there. And then when you're mixing, you can manipulate a bit of green around to give different effects. So it's just not all boring. And again, you can just then tease out a little bit of colour there and a little bit of colour there. So we're almost there. We've got 4 or 5 birds, a snake. There's a burnt umber, so what I'm going to do is just really carefully scribble on the sides of these. And then again, what you can do is push that colour around. And by the time you've worked back round again, that colour's kind of gone into nothing, so you can get some quite good and this one's here. Just activate that little bit of dark. So again, I think this is going to be a bit of a tawny owl. I don't think he's going to be a white owl. I think he's going to be a tawny owl, but he does need a yellow eye. He does need a yellow eye, which needs to go in kind of very carefully. And I'm going to use a smaller brush. Just to keep in control of this. So, really just activate a bit of colour on there. Maybe he's got too much on there, so if you're not happy with it, just take a bit up, and that makes him a little bit better. I haven't activated these, I'd forgotten, so we'll do these green leaves. And there seems to be an awful lot of stems that I've forgotten. probably is a little bit small, this brush. That's a little bit wet, but I just about get away with it, I think. Just down here, I must have put some greenery in and forgotten, so just tease a little bit of colour out. So, there seems to be more greenery in here. So we've got some strange looking one-eyed creatures, or whatever they are, and some bunnies, and a couple of, there's a lollipop there, and a snake. Oh. Sorry about this. I don't know why he's put her in here. She obviously likes a wet dinner. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Yep, that's Piggles. That's why we call her Pigs, because she inhales her food. Yeah, and then we'll have some rather large burps. She's not ladylike at all. It's because she's been starved, and we've had her 8 to 10 years, something like that. She's never, yeah, then she can't help herself. She just can't help herself. She inhales her dinner, and then she runs in the other room and steals the dogs. So, apologies, I can't do anything with her. I can't do a thing with her, because that's what she does. I'm not sure what colour caterpillars. I think we might have some pink caterpillars. I think we can have some pink caterpillars. So I've just scribbled a little bit of pink in there. And that's probably a little bit wetter than I'm normally used to, so. I've got a bit of a pink caterpillar. Oh dear, excuse me. Don't know why I'm saying excuse me. I think these are weird looking stick things. There's a fork there. And then there's a kind of a blade there which wants to be grey. I have a gunmetal grey, so that will do. So if you do dark there, I can tease that colour out. And we've got a grey underneath there now. That looks quite nice. It's so funny. It's just guzzle guts. That's always, I say that's why we call her Pigs. Because she is that pig. So he could do with a little hat, and I don't like that pink. It was perhaps the wrong colour to use. Magenta was not the right colour, definitely. Possibly grey there. And then tease that colour down. We have a snake. I need a bright colour. I suppose we could have a grass snake, couldn't we? Everybody everybody may as well be the same colour. But we'll just give him a little bit of a belly. Tease the colour up to there. Just bear with me 2 seconds while I put her muzzle on. Nigel! Oh, come here, pigs. Gigi, come here. We need to get Gigi's muzzle on. Just a minute. Come here, pigs. Good girl. You've left some biscuits, pigs. You've left it there. You finished? Have you got the muzzle, darling, please? You just passed me it. She's left half for dinner, haven't you? Does it always taste? Yeah. Do you want to pick that up because there's going to be World War III? Thank you. All gone now. Oops. What is it with dogs? It always tastes better out of somebody else's dish. Right. You almost can't tell the difference between these colours now. So we've got a kite, so let's have a bright red kite. We'll have a crimson lake. Oh no, I don't like crimson lake. I want a red. I think we'll have a red. We'll have a deep vermilion. And then we'll have red tails. There we go. I've got red tails. And that will allow us to manipulate this colour here. And then we can just tease. Gotta be a bit careful that you don't go over the line. Just tease that colour. Onto there. And we've got a red flag. A red kite. And if we look for a brighter colour. No, it's impossible for me to do that. Oh, shush, Alfie. It's not impossible for me to do this. Very carefully, because I have a lot more control over my fine paintbrush than I do over the pencil. So we have some clouds, so I might do blue clouds. I think we'll have sky blue clouds, I think. So I'm just going to scribble in a little bit of sky blue in there. There's a bit of one down here. And I'm going to think that, is that a cloud? I don't think it is. I think it's just coffee. But I'll do that the same. We'll have a little bit of a purple cup. So I'm going to have a little bit of a damp brush and just activate that purple and tease it round, and then a little bit that side, and then activate this one, so it goes into a really, really nice deep purple. And activate this blue and take it right to the edge. And that cloud, do the same thing. Take that right to the edge, and then that's going to give very subtle, just off-white grey blue cloud, and then there is a little one down here as well. You've got to be a bit careful, because if you touch anything else it'll come forward and mix together, so you've got to be a little bit careful you don't activate anything else. So we have a few creatures to do, and then we are finished. So I shall have a slurp of warm tea my hubby made for me, and I will put well, you can have a little blue scarf on. It can be a little green Martian. We can have a lot of little green Martians, I think. So activate that green first. And then tease that blue out. And then if you go to this one, got a little bit of blue in there. Kind of like these little kind of, oops, I shouldn't have done that, because that is wet. So that's going to be extremely vibrant now. If you accidentally touch anything that's wet with the paintbrush, it will be very vibrant and you will never get it out. Just, oh, I did ask him to pick the dog biscuit, so never mind. So we're going to have lots of little green creatures. And there's another little green there. I'm finding all sorts of other things now. Now I don't want to find them. And so we can activate these little faces and a little hiding. Sorry about the noises, it's the after effect of gulping your tea down. Gigi is the best for that, she burps like a man. She sounds so human, she's so bad. Because she completely devours her dinner in one. Doesn't pause for breath. So we're almost done, there's just a few birds. There's 3 birds there. I'm not quite sure what to do with. Possibly they could be brown. And this could be a pink flamingo. We might do them pale pink, very pale pink. We'll do very pale pink flamingos. I have a rose pink. I have a rose pink, so I think we'll have some kind of, oh, just a pink flamingo, and you can have a yellow beak. It's the only one with a beak, I think. I'll just activate, whoops, the little birdies. Push that pink paint around. Bit of a pink flamingo going on here, so warning, it's a pink flamingo and a baby one. And then I've just found one of those little creatures again. Lurking in the sky. Just need probably just 1 or 2 more stalks I could possibly kind of, and there's a lollipop, so we kind of want a minty green for that one, don't we? My pages have curled up. So I think that's taken about 3 hours, but that's a lot quicker than I normally work because I've been able to kind of activate some colour. Just a little bit on these toadstools down here. And by just manipulating that colour you can almost give an impression of something, so that's quite nice. So I think I've almost finished. So I'll pan out and we'll have a quick look at that. And so we have our two pineapple pages. One's done in Derwent Water Colour Pencils and one's done in Inktense pencils from Derwent. And I actually like both of them. I actually like working with both of them. They were quite delightful to work with, and you know, these are quite vibrant. So there's and I've got them in my little pencil pack, which sits there. So I quite enjoyed doing that, and that was 3 hours. So that's actually not bad for a Kerby Rosanes picture. I did rush it a little bit, but it's about 3 hours. And there's some really nice colours in there. Let's see if I can put it on autofocus for you and see if we can just pick out some nice it likes to kind of jump up now, doesn't it? Don't know why it won't just stay where it is, unless it needs red. Maybe it needs red. So some nice unusual colours. So some quite nice colours in there, the red kite, the purple umbrella, and then the dragonfly and the purple butterfly. So there's some nice colours. So they're quite bright. You know, even though they're not Inktense, they are still very, very bright. Oh, thank you, Kingo. Thank you. So thank you for joining me. And again, I'm quite impressed with 3 hours for a Kerby Rosanes picture. It is quite good, and they are fairly quick to work with. So again, that's quite nice to know as well. And there were lots of small spaces which you can use with your brush. You're in full control of your colours. And if you wanted to go back in there, now it's dried, I can go in there with a blue, with an indigo, quite a dark blue if I wanted, in here. I mean, you can play just because you've coloured it once. This is what you can do, and you can do it with the Inktense as well, but I've just put some indigo on there. So I'll get a brush and I can manipulate that really dark blue and kind of make that stand out that little bit more if I wanted. So I've made kind of, you can go back in and play if you want. You want to have a look at the ones I've done. Okay, just put my pencils to one side. I've done more in the Imagimorphia. So this was my first practice with watercolour. Is that, let me see if that's actually in focus, because it probably isn't. That was the watercolour, that was the graphy tint. The first one I did was the horse at the back. that was with 3 colours, cerulean blue, lemon yellow and Elysian crimson, and I made my own purpley blues, and I made my own all my greens, so they're all made from 3 colours. I really enjoyed that process. And then I think I did the fox, that's in watercolours. There's 1 or 2 things that I've not finished off. I tend to do that all the time. I haven't done that many in here actually. The bunny one, which was the first one I did with the professional watercolours. And we started, I played about with the metallics. And I was going to do the butterfly next. That was watercolour as well. And I've done the background and used masking fluid and done a black acrylic background, but I haven't filled in the little things yet. I'll probably do those with pencils. And then we did that last week and that this week. So that's Inktense and that's Derwent Watercolors. I may have to give up in a second. Started this one with the professional watercolors, and I don't think I've done any more. I don't think I've done any more. But on this one, the Imagimorphia one, Animorphia, I've done 2. I think I've done, these are in Dr. Martin's Hydrus liquid watercolours, and I've done this one. And I think that's all I've done in this one. And just played about with the Hydrus and watercolours. So I've progressed back to Derwent Water Colour Pencils because I quite like working with them actually. And these are the Inktense as well, so they're very, very vibrant. You can get paler colours out of them, or you can get more violet. You can use them very pale. I mean, that's really pale compared to really vivid colours. So if you want a contrast and just buy one set, the Inktense are wonderful. But again, we've got some very pale blues, beautiful pastel colours, and these are all Inktense, but I've used them very sparingly and used a lot of water, and it's kind of used that better. So but you can almost get the Inktense from the Derwent watercolours if you use them strong enough. Has anybody got any questions before Alfie starts to bark? And I'll just have a mouthful of tea. Yes, Suzanne. He's free to a good home. I keep telling her I'm going to put him in a case and send him to Peru. They were watching Paddington, the movie. Paddington wasn't naughty. Alfie's naughty. Oh, that's good. I'm glad, Suzanne. She says she's found a palette for her Dr. Martin's Hydrus. Mine are still in my cheapie. One here. And I haven't used those since I put them in. They're professional watercolours, but this is my Hydrus. And so I mixed phthalo blue with phthalo green, and I get phthalo ultramarine, but made by me. Or I drop the colours together to make my own greens. But I like working from dry. This particular one was working from wet, and this is why they are very vibrant. It's just a damp brush teasing the colour round, and then dropping a little bit of green in, and you get some quite nice effects. But again, you can take the colour right to nothing almost. Suzanne says she's got shelties and they bark. Are they the ones that bark at nothing here? Well, they've taught Alfie to bark at nothing. Alfie at least had an excuse to bark. But now, so these are the Hydrus. And these are the Inktense. So there's not much between them. I thought these would be stronger, but the Inktense pencils are really versatile. So you've got some extremely strong colours, and you've got some paler colours here. All these are Inktense. I haven't mixed them up. So you can get some very pale colours and watercolour effects. You wouldn't think they were too different. They're a little bit different. But again, I didn't scratch in. If I'd have completely used wet colour onto there, I would have got that. But it's nice to know that you can get some very, very pale blues from the Inktense pencils. So I've quite enjoyed myself today. Again, 3 hours to do a Kerby Rosanes is fairly good. I did rush it at the end a little bit, so I probably could have thought of colours a little bit different, but they actually go. Sometimes you can overthink something. I made the dragon up. I really like the colours of my little dragon, but you know, I've put a little bit of colour in there. So I quite enjoyed that page, actually. I did really enjoy that page. So instead of looking like 4 or 5 weeks, and the other thing I can do now, which I couldn't do before, is big open spaces. Working out of my little book, I couldn't get a nice flow of colour, but I can with these, because I use them in this. This was done with the Derwent pencils, so I got some really big spaces with colour. So the Derwent pencils are very versatile, and you can get big spaces, and the paper is completely flat because I'm working with a damp brush. Yeah, I was quite impressed with, I think it's about 3 hours. It might be a bit more. There's 3 videos, but, you know, they're all about an hour. So I didn't think that was so bad, because it's still quite intricate. It's not, you know, that easy, but it is watercolour. So, but it's completely flat. There's no buckling at all. And again, using 6, I think there were 7 different colours in these pineapple fronds. And yet, when you mix them, you got the beautiful colours. So I was quite impressed with that. And again, with the Inktense ones, you can do 6 or 7 colours, and you don't really get mud. And it means I can actually use some of the pencils again, which before I haven't been able to do that. So if you're watching on YouTube, thank you for watching. And I shall be doing some more with the Derwent pencils and the Inktense. So they're the Inktense, and these are the Derwent pencils. Thank you for watching.